Yes, but it's not the only way we're protecting it.
Do you need to protect it, Simon? Because Scott Morrison said in his campaign launch, we've saved the Great Barrier Reef already. Well done, Greg Hunt.
From listing. You want to read the full quote, Tony, or just an extract of it?
Well, he did say he was taking off the endangered list, but it wasn't on one.
But it was indeed under consideration for listing, and we went through the process to ensure that did not occur. The substance of the question...
His line was, we've saved the Great Barrier Reef. Well done, Greg Hunt.
And do you want to read the next sentence? I see you've got ... after that, Tony.
Yes, he said...
So what's the
he was talking about taking off the endangered list, but there wasn't one.
No, I think you're being selective in your quotes there. But,
OK, so you haven't saved the Great Barrier Reef. The Prime Minister didn't get that quite right?
No, I think you're being selective in your quote there in terms of what he was referring to. We know there's ongoing work required in relation to the Great Barrier Reef. That's why we've got $2 billion in partnership with the Queensland Government that works in a range of things in terms of addressing the type of nutrient runoff that comes from soils and lands throughout Queensland that can run in and create issues in the Great Barrier Reef, in terms of supporting the science and the resilience, in terms of that funding for the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. We know that that's going to leverage additional private sector funding to help complement that work. It's not the only thing we're doing, but it is absolutely a valuable investment in making sure that we use all of the different arms of research and tourism and the local community to be able to get the best possible effort in terms of protecting the reef for the long term.
Tanya Plibersek, you're going to keep this $444 million investment, Great Barrier Reef Foundation?
We're going to keep the investment, but not in the foundation. We'll direct that money to the organisations that have traditionally worked, government organisations, to protect the reef. We've also set aside $30 million for Reef HQ. We've also got a commitment to a plastics and recycling measure that seeks to reduce the impact of plastics in our oceans, which is, as all of you know, horrendous and a growing problem. And we'll, of course, work again to protect our oceans. When we were last in government, we set aside significant parts of our ocean environment to protect them. The Liberals, on coming to government, reversed those protections, and we would like to restore those protections. So, yes, we'd invest in the reef. Yes, we'd tackle climate change, but plastics and broader protection for our oceans is also important.
Richard Di Natale.
Well, what you need to do to protect the reef is you've got to address climate change. You've got to transition out of coal rather than opening up new coal mines, like the Adani coal mine. You've got to not frack the Northern Territory. I'm sad to say that the Labor Party have got a plan to open up 1,200 gas wells in the Northern Territory, 5 times the impact of the Adani coal mine, $1.5 billion of public money to do it. It'll be a carbon bomb. The Labor Party wants to open up further coal fields. They want to open up the Galilee Basin. That's how you address it. But in terms of the $500 million...
About the Liberal Party then?
The Liberal Party, I'm afraid, sorry. The $500 million that was given to the Great Barrier Reef Foundation should be the subject of an anti-corruption commission. It should be the first order of business. $500 million, no tender. Malcolm Turnbull walks into a room and hands over, the fossil fuel industry $500 million and says, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, here's $500 million, knock yourself out.
Really? That's what you're alleging, Richard?
Well, I think you haven't indicated that there have been any tender documents. It was, in fact, the allocation that was made didn't stand up to scrutiny, and it was described by many people as one of the most flagrant abuses of public expenditure seen in this parliament.
OK, I'm sorry, but you get a right to respond to that.
Well, firstly, I think that is a terrible smear in terms of on Malcolm Turnbull and the approach you've taken there, Richard. I expect you'll be ringing for an apology in the morning. But in terms of the substance, the Great Barrier Reef Foundation was worthy from the Labor Party of receiving millions of dollars in public funding.
How many, Simon? It was
about 13, I think it was.
About 13.
So
433.
So Tanya, yes, indeed. Years later, as an investment for the long term, not to be expended at once, but to be invested, to be leveraged, and to actually get long-term results for the reef. You trusted the organisation to to invest millions of dollars previously, yet you don't seem to trust it today just because we were the ones giving the money for the reef.
Okay,
well,
there's a response now.
$500 million is a big
Tanya Plibersek,
difference.
the right to respond that you get is on the fracking question, because there's just been a suggestion there from the Greens that Labor is going to open up fracking fields which will be worse, have worse consequences for greenhouse gases than Adani.
I think what Richard's talking about is money that's been set aside that would be available for a gas pipeline from the Northern Territory.
For fracked gas, that's right.
Well, for natural gas as well.
1,200 new gas wells in the Northern Territory.
Well, what the Northern Territory government does in the Northern Territory after extensive consultation is a matter for them.
So why build a pipeline if there's no gas?
Well, there's conventional gas well.
So this is the 1,200 new gas fields in the Beetaloo Basin that would have 5 times the impact.
Richard, we need to let Tanya respond, if you don't mind.
So the money is available for a pipeline because we are worried that gas shortages are potentially disastrous for Australian industry.
This is export gas.
Conventional gas is running out. There are businesses telling us that they are going to close down. The government's done nothing to retain Australian gas in Australia. We continue to sell it overseas when there are potential shortages in Australia and high prices, and that affects our industry very significantly.
But Tanya, it's for export gas. It's not for domestic gas.
I'm going to have to cut that one off. Sure. We've got too many things to go to. The next question comes via Skype. It's from Harry